Paul, I think it's time to do our TM. Before his hair falls, we wouldn't want that to happen. would we? That's right.
Where do I start? Make it, didn't I?
Sorry.
Growing taller, yeah. That's it. So I feel like Carrot Top, like I'm a prop comic whenever I come up here and do this every year. But see, with the props, you don't need as many notes because you use the props to tell you what to say next or what you need to do next. So I'm going to start off, though, before I turn to my props and give him some props. I remember when they were touring the school, not yet members, and guess who didn't come to my garage? RT. So his family's up there with Roman, and everything I say, all I hear is, RT would like this. RT would like this. And so I was kind of feeling like that's telling me that Roman doesn't like this. It's like, because everything, it was, RT would like this, RT would like this. And I didn't get to meet RT until we got to fitness club, or actually it was PE club, we called it then, and we were playing a game of basketball. And so the very first thing I realized about both of these boys is they were competitors, and especially against each other. So you had to put them on the same team, otherwise there might have been blood drawn during the basketball game. But as soon as they got there and I got them in class, the other thing I recognized that makes teaching a joy was that he loved learning. And sometimes our job can be tough because we have to motivate them first to want to learn. And that's probably the most difficult part of our jobs. But my job was easy with RT because he came in with a love and wanting to learn. And so every day you end up with this joy because you were able to share knowledge with somebody who was desiring it. And I really appreciated that about you. And so I had to say those and get them out of the way and start laughing because I'd start crying if I kept going too nice too long. So now let's go into the fun, okay? So, yes, I have shared many different hats besides just doing the mechanic thing with RT. But one of the main things that a lot of my students have problem with, and especially RT, is loosening and tightening something. Whether it's going right or left, and then the way they position the wrench, it could be right or left and still be loosening or tightening. So I always try to tell them clockwise. And the first thing they do is they look at that digital watch. And they didn't get it. They said, there's no digital numbers on this wrench. Which way's clockwise? So to kind of give him an idea and he can remember, I got him something analog, but something also to remember the mechanic shop, and it'll actually look good in that new room down there in that mechanic, the mechanic area we're going to be having at the next step, right? There you go. And these are really just nice gifts that I have left over from a previous career before I came to Bachman. But I've always had a blimp blown up in the garage, and it's always been coveted, but I actually have some that have never been blown up. And as the years go through, as I graduate some of my outstanding mechanic students, I like to pass them on. So we're done mechanicking? Yep. So PE Club is where I met him, and then this year I sponsored the fitness club, which we were lucky and had the pleasure to have a membership and go to Planet Fitness and work out together for 2 hours a week, right? And I found the best way to motivate him is tell him that his big brother Roman did just a little more than him the last time he was there. But the truth is, he was so competitive that when we were lifting, he challenged me. He would look at the weight I had, and he would get something close or something just 5 pounds more. And he kept making me go further and further and further because he kept going higher and higher and higher. And he just about wore me out a few times. I was actually more in pain after working out with him than I was when I worked out with the trainer on a regular basis. So here you go, the Golden Dumbbell Award. prop. So we thought we had us a ringer on the Wolves for the bowling. Now the Wolves normally win everything, right? Right? So we allowed him to stay in our dormitory where the Wolves would have been, right? And he was our ringer. Come to find out, we should have recruited Roman. His arm was sore. His arm was sore. Regardless of the fact that Roman beat him so bad. And even that, the Bears, he had to actually leave the Wolves and go to the Bears just so that he can be on the winning team after the tournament. But still, he bowled a much higher score than I did, so I was no help either. So here you go, the golden pin. Now, one evening, I had been being invited to go fishing. And so I thought, well, I'll go down there. But the thing I hate the most about fishing is most of my life, I never really get to fish. I always find I'm setting hooks, I'm tying up lines, I'm unsnagging things. So whenever I'm going with people who I normally play that teacher mentor role to, you kind of think, oh, it's not going to be a lot of fun for me, and it's already after a long, hard day, and I just don't know. But I did. I went down, hung out at the lake, and I got schooled in how to catch fish. So, huh? Yeah, it was a school, and I got schooled. Somebody taught me how to do it. And RT actually pulled the largest bass I have ever seen in my life out of that lake. And where I come from, that's not a lake, that's a pond. I mean, the lakes that I grew up on fishing were as big as the whole campus. So, but you did pretty good to pull that out of there. And I was really, really proud of you. So I figured since I asked you to throw that one back so I'd have a chance to catch it one day, and you did for me, I'd give you something that was already mounted for you. So. Thank you. Hey, when you can turn on there you go. Don't turn it back on. There you go. Don't turn him on. Don't turn him back on. He's off. And thanks with the help of Mr. Steve, also to help you remember your trophy. If y'all want to see it, there it is. If you see it, it's about half the length of him. So there you go. And just last, it's been a great pleasure. Mr. and Mrs. Gross, you've raised two fine young men. Well, the two I know. I'm sure he's a fine young man too, right? These boys have always been gentlemen on our campus. Holding doors, taking plates, wiping tables, whatever's needed. Always been gentlemen. And I've been proud to be a part of watching you grow up. And I hope to see you even more in the Next Step program.